morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Natasha Eckholm. I'm a ministerial intern here at Center for Spiritual Living, and thanks, everyone. Just if you're online, you may not know that I passed my ministerial exams recently, so that's what everybody is saying. Anyway, so thank you again, and welcome to everybody joining us this morning here in the sanctuary, and to all of you who are joining us online now and who may join us later at another time. We're so happy to see you. The published title for this morning's talk is Into We See, but made a little pivot, and I'm calling it Being in Common Unity. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a minute. So, all this year, we have been exploring the theme of everyday wonder. And this month, as we conclude the journey, we are focusing on the idea of community. So have you ever noticed that the word community is made up of two words? Common, unity. When we think about our community or our communities, what is our common unity? So community, I think, is a place where we explore who we really are, but in the context of relationships, right? And that begins with ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, and then it expands out to our relationship with our friends and our family, our acquaintances, to the people that we work with and go to school with, and ultimately to all the people that we're surrounded by in our neighborhoods, in our towns, in our states, and so on. And the alchemy of what is community really comes into our awareness through all of those connections and relationships. But we're often so caught up in the busyness of every day, aren't we, that we don't really take a pause to notice that. And it really just kind of goes by. So this month in December, we have an opportunity to really explore that, to celebrate it, to really become aware of all the light that is around us. And we had a beautiful introduction to this idea in the song that Sylvia and Victoria shared with us, this idea of the light within, and I'm going to explore that a little bit more. So I want to begin our thinking about what common unity is by thinking about some of the other lessons that we get to experience and explore this time of year. This is a time of year of endings and beginnings, isn't it? It's the time of year that our calendar is coming to an end right now, the end of 2022, and soon the beginning of 2023. As we approach the winter solstice, we are approaching the longest night of the year, and then we will slowly move into a time of greater light every day. So the end of one cycle and the beginning of another, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, right? Everybody's got it switched on the other side. And in the Christian liturgy, this season is known by the word Advent, right? Which is a time of preparation. In the Christian tradition, preparation for the second coming of Jesus, preparation for the celebration of the birth of Jesus and the Nativity. So as a metaphysical teaching, we don't focus on the literal second coming of Jesus, of course, but we can understand this time as a time of preparation for remembering what Jesus embodied so powerfully in his teachings, the power of love, the power of light. Because we know that that love, the power of that love, is one of the aspects of the divine. And what we know in our teaching is that that divine essence is how we understand who we are, and indeed, who everybody else is around us. And that is what we engage in relationship, and I would say, what is the basis of that common unity? So at the most fundamental level, this time is a time of remembering for me. It is a time of remembering who I really am. It is a time for remembering that the love of God is within me and always seeking to express itself in, as, and through me. And in, as, and through each and every one of us, right? It is seeking its highest and greatest expression as you and you and you and all of you. Science of mind calls on us to recognize that spirit is expressing itself at all times. If it is here, it is to be known. And that means it is our work to take a moment to recognize it, to perceive it, to act in that awareness, to celebrate that. Science of mind, this teaching that we love so much, is a practical application of seeing that wholeness of our divinity as it expresses itself through all of our experiences and our relationships. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, tells us, "No person need go unguided through life, for all are divine at the center, and all are images of the Most High." No person need go unguided through life, for all are divine at the center, and all are images of the Most High. Now, sometimes I think we spend a lot of time looking for answers outside of ourselves. And what we propose in our teaching is that those answers are within us. And so the work, our work, is doing that exploration and examination within ourselves, but in community, right? Because it's always a kind of a relationship of learning is most powerful when it's in community. Ernest Holmes goes on to say, "To know God is to love, for without love there is no knowledge of God." So just hold that for a moment. To know God is to know love, for without love there is no knowledge of God. So if we remember that we are embodiments of love, what else might we remember at this time of year as we think about our common unity? So I'm thinking about how we live in these concentric circles, right? Our common unity, our community with ourselves and God, our communities of family and friends, and then finally our really big communities, our human communities, that often seem to be among strangers, but perhaps it's because we just haven't paused to remember that common unity. So, in Science of Mind, that oneness with God is one of our primary teachings. It is the basis of how we understand who we are, and it is also the basis of how we understand our creative capacities and capabilities, our ability to create the life that we want to live, to create a better world for ourselves and for all beings. And that oneness is the basis of our shared connection with each other, isn't it? Ernest Holmes said of Jesus, the great teacher, "He believed in God, in himself, as power and reality. Believing in God within, he was compelled to believe in himself." He was compelled to believe in himself. So I think that one way to begin to explore this idea is in a very basic practice. How many people, when they wake up in the morning, reach for a phone to check on their calendar or the news or Facebook? Does anybody do that? I admit, I do that. Yeah, kind of a lot of us do, don't we? Because, hey, it seems like the way to get a jump on the day, right? You know, we know we've got a lot to do. We want to make sure we're taking care of it. But what if before you pick up your phone or your iPad or turn on the news or look at the paper, what if you just took a moment to go within and say, "Good morning, God," right? To recognize that divine essence within and to set an intention for that day to embody some aspect of God. Now, if you would like to really dive into spiritual practice and spend hours meditating and praying and visioning, I'm all for it. But you don't have to go that far to start. You can do it in 60 seconds by connecting with that divine within and setting an intention. Because doing that lays a foundation. It brings us into alignment with the truth of who we are, and it brings us into alignment with our good and our connection with everybody else. It is fundamentally, I want to suggest, an expression of respect for ourselves. But we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. So what about the next level? All right, we've talked about our connection with ourselves, our relationship with ourselves. Centers for Spiritual Living includes as one of its foundational principles, we believe in the incarnation of spirit in humankind, and that all people are incarnations of the one spirit. That incarnation of the one within us is in each and every person. So that means everybody in your family, everybody in the circle of people that you encounter every day, doesn't it? We experience this community, right? Common unity in our shared history, in language, in our culture, in our shared experiences with people that we go to school with and go to work with. And again, so easy in the busyness of the day, getting things done, to not really pay a lot of attention to that connection, right? In fact, often to be really annoyed by the people around you. Has that ever happened to you? Gosh, he didn't clear the table, did he? Gosh, he's late on delivering that assignment again. Gosh, why doesn't he ever pick up after himself or her? No bias here. But the point is, of course, that we're losing sight of that fundamental connection often in our daily life. So I heard a story recently that suggested what some of the possibilities might be if we were to take a moment to think about that connection. So this is a story about a community of monks who lived in a monastery, somewhat remote location, very beautiful area. And over the years, the monastery's membership dwindled. And eventually there were only a handful of monks left there with the abbot, 5, 6 people. And they did all that they could to try to recruit new members, but new people were not coming and they just didn't know what to do about it. And as it happened in their area, there were a lot of woods around, and there was a small cottage that was sometimes used by a rabbi from a local village to do a little personal retreat. And he would go there from time to time to just have some time to read the Torah, to reflect on his theology and his work with the people in his community. So one day, the monks at the monastery saw a little smoke coming from the cottage and saw, oh, the rabbi's there. So the abbot decided to go over and have a little visit with him. So he went over, and they're just talking about, how things are going. And the abbot said to the rabbi, our membership keeps dwindling. We're down to a really small number of people. We've tried everything we can think of. Do you have any ideas? What could we do, to bring new members in? And the rabbi said, oh, I'm sorry, I just don't know. What can I say? He said, maybe one of you is the Messiah. And the abbot thought, what? Had no idea what he was talking about. Oh, thank you, Rabbi, anyway. So the abbot goes back to the monastery, and the monks ask the abbot, what did he say? And the abbot said, I really don't understand it. All that he said was, maybe one of us is the Messiah. So the monks were very puzzled by this. How could this possibly make any sense? After all, Brother Alfred was awfully grouchy when he cooked breakfast in the morning. How could he be the Messiah? Brother Mark always sang flat when they were singing their devotional songs. He couldn't be the Messiah. The abbot was always so forgetful. How could he be the Messiah? They couldn't figure this out. So time went on, but the words of the rabbi stayed in the minds of the monks. And they started kind of wondering, well, if that person could be the Messiah, if Brother Alfred could, maybe I should treat him with respect, a little more respect than I've been treating him. If the abbot might be the Messiah, well, that would make him really extraordinary, wouldn't it? I should treat him as if he is an extraordinary person. And little by little, all the monks began to treat each other as with greater respect, with indeed a kind of extraordinary respect. And then it started to occur to them, gosh, maybe I could be the Messiah. Even though that seemed kind of possibly even, frightening, blasphemous idea, but nonetheless. So they began to treat themselves with greater respect, indeed, with that same extraordinary respect that they were offering each other. And as this was taking place, visitors to the area who used to stop by the monastery from time to time because it was famed for having very lovely architecture and some very beautiful paintings, noticed this energy, this shift, this beautiful kind of presence that they were encountering among the monks. And as word kind of got out about this new sensibility, they began to attract new members. And little by little, more and more people wanted to join the monastery, and they were able to rebuild the membership that they had been so sad to lose. So, moral of the story, what happened? They created a common unity by recognizing within each other and themselves something that deserved extraordinary respect, which is to say, of course, the presence of God, is how we would say it, right? So, how might this look in the broader world, beyond the world, just of people that we know and talk to, whose names we know every day? In the CSL Global Vision, we say we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. Now that's a very powerful vision, isn't it? As some of you know, I'm in a training program for chaplaincy. And I work in a hospital here in San Diego. And I work with the palliative care team, which is an interdisciplinary team that helps severely ill patients to manage the symptoms of their illness. And as a chaplain, it's my job to help support patients spiritually and emotionally, wherever they are, right, in the context of their own faith, tradition, and practice. It's an interfaith kind of approach. But while it's my job to help them, they are often teaching me about faith and hope and love. I was recently visiting a patient, and as we were talking, they looked out the window. This hospital happens to look out over the I-5, And so all day long, this patient sees cars driving by. And while we were talking, the patient mentioned that they had started praying every day for the passengers, the drivers and the passengers in each of those cars as they went by. They would spend a lot of the day, because you're in the hospital. There's only so much TV and magazines you can look at, right? But this patient had decided to spend their time praying for other people, for their well-being, for their happiness, for their good, for their experience of God, because the relationship with God was very important to this particular patient. And I was really, I was very moved by the story that this patient shared with me, because in a moment where it would be very natural to be just completely focused on yourself and your own suffering, and not to criticize anyone who is in such a situation, because that's very challenging. But in this moment, this person was choosing something different, to focus on the shared humanity that they had with all of these people who were total strangers to them, right? Rather than on any possible difference. The only thing they were focused on was on what connected themselves and these people. And at the conclusion of the visit, I offered the patient a prayer, and when I finished, they spontaneously offered me one in return. And that was very powerful for me, because this person chose in that moment to create community with me, to create that experience of common unity. This person reminded me about how we are always at choice, aren't we? In every moment, about pausing to remember that connection, even under the most challenging circumstances. So I want to invite you all now to just do a little mini process with me, if you would. I want to invite you to just take a moment and simply go within, close your eyes if you wish, and allow yourself to connect with the divine within. Perhaps envision it as a light or a healing sound. It could be your breath, the tone of a bell or a bowl. It could be a sensation, a vibration, or a feeling of warmth. Just allow yourself to feel that within for a moment. And whatever that image or sound or sense is for you, now allow that to expand, to include in your mind's eye all of those who are physically present with you, or all of those you love and care about. Now allow that to expand even further. Perhaps through the building or the neighborhood where you are, to the street, to the town, to all the people in the state, to all the people in our nation, finally to all the people on the planet. This, my friends, is our common unity, our community. So I want you to gently bring yourself back now. Just allow yourself to feel the chair beneath you, to connect with your breath again. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So as we bring our time together to a close this morning, I'd like to invite you to explore the practice that I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, which is to say, every morning this week, when you wake up, before you pick up your phone, turn on your TV, look at the paper, just while you're still in bed, before you step out, take a moment to connect with that sense of God within. Create that community in your awareness with God as the first thing that you do, and set an intention to embody an attribute of God, of love, of wisdom, of light, of abundance, of joy, of beauty, whatever you are guided to by that inner wisdom that is within each of us. And at the end of the day, just ask yourself, did you notice anything? Did you notice that it changed how you felt you connected with other people? I look forward to hearing about your experience. So, more light. So I want to invite you to join me in an affirmation, and then I'm going to pray us out. Okay, so I want to invite everyone to stand up. We're going to express this affirmation as we like to do here at Eckholm by saying it quietly, by speaking it with gusto, and then really speaking it out, okay? So let's start. Today, I see spirit in everyone. I am in community with all beings. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know that was going to happen. I'm going to repeat that so you'll all hear the whole thing. Today, I see spirit in everyone. I am in community with all beings. Today, I see spirit in everyone. I am in community with all beings. All right, and now really lay it out there. Today, I see spirit in everyone. I am in community with all beings. Thank you. All right, I'm just going to pray us out, and then we'll have some more beautiful music. So, simply recognizing right here and right now that presence of the one, the source of all that is, that infinite, eternal love and intelligence that is continuously seeking its highest and greatest expression in, as, and through me and each and every one of us gathered here, physically, virtually, in every place, in every time. I simply speak these words to know our oneness, our wholeness, our common unity with each other, beyond all appearances of difference, beyond the illusion of separation. There is only the one. There is only the one infinite presence of God, and there is only the one as it expresses itself in the multitudes of its beloved children, which is to say each and every one of us. I speak this word to claim our remembering. I speak this word to claim our celebration. I speak this word to know the peace that surpasses all understanding, because when we know this, we are indeed truly at peace. So in this special time of contemplation, of remembering, of love, I simply give thanks for the blessings of God, for the blessings of common unity, for the blessings of community together as we learn and remember together the true gift of who we are and what we are, and how to be together in this knowing. And so simply with a joyous heart, I release this word, knowing that as I have spoken, it is already done, and simply ask you to join me in saying, and so it is.